Alright, as you can see, I'm pretty tight in this car. I'm 6 foot tall, 250 pounds, and I'm trying to cram into an A body, which is already a small car to begin with. The biggest problem with this car is I put the cage in before I did anything else to it. It was one of the first things I did. And I didn't do it with the seat in place. One of the last things I did was put the seat in it. So I should have put the seat in first, then built the cage around it. Now, there's only so much I could do. Down at the bottom, I maybe could have moved the main hoop back a half inch or so, but there's a step on the floor, and it's right in front of that step. And I wanted to keep the main hoop kind of close to where this, would be a B pillar if it was a pillar. But anyway, the other thing is you can see I have the main hoop kind of leaned forward. I should have leaned it backward a little bit. Then that would have given me probably the room that I needed. But anyway, and then this seat, my buddy Chris Phil gave me this seat. It's out of a PT Cruiser. You can see it's pretty thick. So the thickness of the seat is about 4 inches. And I bought these Jazz seats, the plastic ones. They're about 1.5 inches. So I'm hoping that room is enough to, give me the space I need to feel comfortable driving the car. And if it's not, plan B is to get a flatter steering wheel so that I can, get a little more room in my arms and feel more comfortable. So if those things fail, the only other option I have is to cut the cage so I can move the seat back where I can sit comfortably. Alright guys, here's where we're at. This is where we're going to start. So the instructions say to put these little pedestals against the seat. And then you put these screws, so the studs that are on here are going to go through the floor. This rear hole is slotted, so this can slide. So I'm going to leave it a little loose. And then slide this the other way. Oops. Put the front screw in. All right, clearly I picked the wrong lawn chair. This thing's been a pain in the butt. All right, so anyway, I just wanted to show you up close. So you have to have those pedestals because there's features on the other side of here that will hit the seat if you don't have the pedestals. And the holes look very shallow. And I thought I was going to have to use spacers. But when you screw the holes in there, that plastic you're seeing pushes out of the way. Okay, this cable, the picture is very grainy, so kind of hard to tell where to go. That one's kind of obvious, but this side, not so much. Turns out it's the same hole, like that is a copy of that. And that's the hole you want to put the cable on. Pretty neat. Pretty neat how this it's just got a spring holding it on. You just slide that off and then you can loop that spring or this cable on. This cable
goes on easier with these off, at least, yeah. So you should put one side on first, put the spring on to attach it, bolt this down, then put this cable on, and then put this spring on. Freaking lawn chair. Like that. And then bolt that bracket down. And that's pretty much it. So that's done. All right. So just to give you a visual of the seat, there's the seat. And then I'm going to pull up close. Okay. So I put this bracket, I drilled a hole 1 inch from this edge and a 1/2 inch in. And then on this side, it's 1 inch in as well, and it's 1.5 inches back. So the reason I favored this side, putting this side close, is this basically moves the seat back farther in relationship to the bracket. I know I'm not going to need to go closer, so I'm going to maximize how far I can get the seat back. If for some weird reason it's too far and my thought process is backwards, I could always take this off, flip it to this side, and move it in the other direction. All right, just thought I'd show you how this guy looks. So we got it bolted on. I like this piece facing outward. It's going to be easy to get to the bolts and stuff. Plus the seat is really narrow, and the area the old seat was wider than this. So anyways, I'm going to set it in the car, kind of test fit it, and then we'll figure out where to put some holes and drill this for some holes, and probably have to drill the car and then throw it in the car. All right, moment of truth. Feels a lot better. Yeah, I think I gained at least 2 inches. Feels a lot better. Oh yeah, I'm much happier. And the seat is narrower too. It's actually nice. It feels roomier in here. Before there was only about the width of my hand between the two seats. And now, just with this one seat changed, it's about double. So we'll save up some money and we'll get the seat on the other side going as well. But yeah, this feels way, way better. Okay, there's the race seat. I have to say, it just looks cooler than that seat, and it's lighter. I'm gonna have to do that too. I'm gonna have to weigh the seats and let you guys know what the weight difference is. Another thing too is look between the seats. When I had the two PT Cruiser seats, this space was pretty close, about just a little wider than my fist. And now I could probably put like 2 fists there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, it's dark. We're out of time. We'll pick it up tomorrow. 46 pounds. 46.5 pounds. All right, 46 pounds. That's the PT Cruiser seat, the bracket I made to hold it down to the car. So, what's that? That's 92 pounds between both seats once I pull the passenger out and put another race seat over there. But I gotta weigh the other seats. I gotta weigh the seats I'm putting in to see what that weighs. All right, 24.3 pounds with the seat cover, the brackets, the slider, and the race seat.
Alright, so I have the seat in here, and I positioned it where I want it to be, and where the bracket landed was basically getting the back of the seat really close to the bar here. So I got the seat where I wanted it, then went under the car, and I was trying, you know, ideally it'd be nice to get into these braces, you know, the original braces, but the footprint of the race seat is much smaller than the footprint of the factory seat, so we're not going to be able to utilize this front one. Anyway, I drilled a hole here, and then another thing I had to worry about was the frame connector. You know, I couldn't drill through the frame connector, so I had to stay on the outside of that. So I went, as my guide, this is what I did. I got as close to the frame connector as I can, stayed within this brace because the bracket up top was really pretty much laying over the top of it. So I figured I could at least get one brace. I used the center of that brace to drill a hole there, shoved the bolt through it, and then went up top side, had this bolt going through it to hold it in place, and then looked for a spot. You know, it's basically got to land into this bracket. So back under the car, I use this dip as a guide. I can feel it in the carpet, and I can feel the bracket ended right about here somewhere. So I figured I didn't want to drill through here because then there'd be a space between the floor and the bracket. So I wanted to be up here where it's the two surfaces are basically touching. So I picked this spot. It's as close to the front as the bracket as we can go, and also right against the frame rail. The corner here, that I'm not sure if it comes out in the video, but you can kind of see where this is lower, and then right here's a lower feature. So I've used that corner as my guide to put the second hole. And then just basically drilled through the carpet, put a bolt through here. You know, this side I already have determined, and then I just measured what would work up here. So these measurements may not work for you because, you know, you might have other stuff going on. Obviously, if you're not doing an A body, it's going to be different too. So my measurement, and like I said, I wouldn't use these if you're doing your own car. You're going to have to bolt everything up and then figure it out on your own car just to be sure. But for me, it came out to 3 1/8 inch. This is about 2 inches wide, so it went down the middle 1 inch. And then this is about 3/4 of an inch from the front, also 1 inch over. You can see my center was not quite perfect there, but it works. And then I'm going to put this back on the seat, put the seat back in here, and then try to figure out where it lands over here. Take a measurement. I think, well, yeah, I'll do that. I'll bolt this back onto the seat, take a measurement from this bracket to the bracket over here, and then pick a spot basically under the car and try to drill it. Okay, so based on measuring the brackets on the seat, I knew that this bolt hole to the other end of the bracket, the center of the bracket, needed to be 12 1/2 inches. Unfortunately, as you can see, there's a bunch of crap in the way. You can't really get a really exact measurement. So this is why I was doing one thing at a time. So I have this drive shaft loop. I thought about maybe using this bolt, but when I took a measurement on the other side of the car, the inside of the car, from here to there, that was 11 inches. So it was just inside of the bracket. The bracket would be over here. So I knew I had to go another 1.5 inches, so I used this to go another 1.5 inches. Because I didn't want to drill through the drive shaft loop, I basically moved the hole forward, just putting the hole just in front of that. This area, this corner of the seat, the floor is flat, there's no features, and there's nothing on the other side. So I basically just matched the door side by going in 3/4 of an inch and 1 inch in. And then I
measured from here to here and here to here, and then put a mark on the floor and then drilled it. So that's how I put it in. That's how I put all the holes. When you do your car, it's probably not going to be the exact same measurements, and depending on if you've got a drive shaft loop and frame connectors and stuff like that, that's all going to play a role on where you can put stuff. And of course, the features in the car, there's just so many of them. So all I could say is that when you go to do it, I recommend you do one hole at a time and just measure, and try not to hold yourself too hard to putting the hole like in exact measurements, you know, like exactly 12.5 inches apart that way, and then, you know, I don't know what the measurement is this way, but you know, you might have to move around basically because of features and things in the way. So that's that. Now I just got to bolt the seat in the car. Alright, seat's bolted in. Got the snazzy new seat cover in. And I fit a little bit better in the car. So it's a success. I still got to drive it to see if, you know, how it feels, but just sitting here right now, it feels pretty good. Alright, that was kind of sketchy. Everything's cool. I feel way better in the car. I could probably get away with driving it like this. But we'll drive it a while. We'll see. Maybe down the road, if I just need a little more, I'll do the steering wheel. The sketchy part was there's no brakes. I mean, they're very limited. I had to pump them. It's going to the floor. It's done this twice. Last time I let it sit for a few weeks, and then I go to run it, and it's like going to the floor. Bleed the brakes, it's fine. Well, it sat a few weeks and it's doing the same thing, but there's no oil leaks under the car, no hydraulic fluid. So I'm thinking the master cylinder must be jacked up, maybe bypassing or something. Anyway, so the saga continues. I'm gonna have to do something about the master cylinder, and then we'll move on to other crap that needs to get done on this car. That's it, guys. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's if I don't get to a video before then. Later.